Hey you guys, what's up? Today I wanted to tell you about a funny story that relates to me about the interconnectedness of everything. So, I went to a bar. I'm 23 years old, and to this day I've still never gotten drunk at a bar. So, I went to a bar because it was my high school class's 5-year reunion. And this is last November, I want to say. It was either last November or December. So it was my class's 5-year high school reunion, and I was not planning on going at all. It turned out that the only friend that I've retained from high school went to the 5-year reunion, and he got really, really drunk. I wanted to make sure that he was going to get home safe, and I knew that he was really drunk at that point, and it was probably midnight. I had just finished working an hour before, and I really didn't feel like going. I really didn't want to go to the 5-year high school reunion, especially at a bar where everyone was going to be wasted on alcohol. But I wanted to make sure that my friend got home safe. So I texted him, and he sent me some really, really incoherent text message back, and I just said, okay, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna try to pick him up, and maybe he'll be ready to head out like as soon as I get there. So I went to the bar. I went to the bar in Pittsburgh's South Side. I went to the Carson City Saloon. And if you know anything about me, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, I am really interested in magic. I'm really interested in alchemy. I'm very aware of the interconnectedness of all of life. Anyways, I went to the bar and it was packed. It was packed with people around my age. So I'm thinking to myself, these are my peers, I think. These are people around the same age as me, and there was tons of people packed wall to wall in this bar on the first floor. And then there's a second floor, which I didn't check out until later, and then there's a third floor. And I look around on the first floor and I don't see my friend anywhere. So I went up. I think that maybe he texted me at that point and said he was on the third floor. So there's this really cool staircase in the back of the Carson City Saloon. I go to the back of the stair and get to the staircase, walk all the way up to the third floor, and again, this floor is packed wall to wall, front to back, with like people that I feel like are even more obliterated than on the first floor. And I'm just finding this really, really funny. I can see some dudes kind of checking me out, and in my mind I'm just thinking like, I'm not gonna get with you. And I really am not interested in super drunk as a vibration. So I went to find my friends, who I did find shortly after entering the third floor, in the midst of a bunch of other dudes that we went to high school with. And it was pretty funny. I was sort of just saying hi to people that I could tell were recognizing me from high school that I literally hadn't talked to in probably 5 years. I find my friend. He is really drunk. This is a person that has taught me a lot, has helped me through a lot. We've had romantic relationships in the past. So despite the fact that they were super drunk, they already had a predisposed place in my heart, and I wanted to go there and help save them from the drunken madness of the Carson City Saloon. So I get there, I find him, we have a great, happy, joyous hug, and he's saying, oh, like, this person's here, don't you remember them from high school? I'm like, yeah, I remember them from high school. This was definitely more of a heartfelt occasion for him. So he wanted to stick around a little bit at the bar. He wanted to stick around longer and hang with his friends for a little bit longer, which I was into because this is such a novel experience for me at this point that I decide I can probably muster up the courage to give myself some sort of new experience for the night. I didn't feel like drinking at all. I really didn't want to drink. I was a little bit nervous about the temptation of drinking alcohol, but I knew I really didn't want to, and I didn't at any point when I was there. So, anyways, I'm trying to find a way to kind of vibe in this sea of really, really intoxicated people. Like, I'm trying to find a way to just, like, vibe. I'm kind of, like, having short conversations with the people that I did go to high school with, that my friend is hanging out with. And it's not really working because there's really, really loud music, and there's really loud conversation going on too. There's like a whole sea of people in this room, and I'm kind of trying to dance. I'm trying to feel the music and flow in that way, but it was kind of hard because I felt like my energy was like wanting to be a lot bigger than what that room was going to be able to host. So I'm kind of just doing like small like techno moves, like just like whirling around in my own little tiny, like, just beyond the parameter of my body area. And it's going how it's going, but I'm sort of still feeling like I really want to connect with these people more. I wonder if there's something I can share. I wonder if there's something that I can help aid in the situation of anyone's life. There were a lot of women folk around, like female presenting individuals who I'm pretty certain had vaginas, and I am somewhat wanting to connect with some of the women folk that are around as a woman folk. When I got there, I was seeing my male friend, and we were connecting with other male peers that we had gone to high school with, and I'm just also like in a sea of like a pretty gender balanced room. So I'm like, maybe I can connect with like one of these groups of girls. I noticed that like over my corner that I'm standing right by a group of girls, and I looked at one of them and I think at this point I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all of the vibrations in the room and like my inability to kind of like be me in that space because the vibrations were a little bit disharmonic, like for me as like one just little generator right here, like in the midst of a crowd of like drunk people. So yeah, I like wanted to connect with this group of girls. And let's just say I botched it. Let's just say it was a botched situation. Okay, so I looked at this girl who made eye contact with me, and preface, I am really into the magic of utilizing period blood for magic, like utilizing period blood for magic, to manifest, to amplify vibrations, to amplify intention. You can pour period blood in your garden to make your plants grow stronger. You can pray with your period blood and ask for things you want to manifest, and it'll just amplify that intention. So I turn and me and this girl kind of lock eyes, and I'm just like, pour your period blood on the earth. Like I would say I wasn't in a good place. My vibrations were disharmonious with all of the other vibrations around me. I was rarely drinking alcohol in my life at that point. She cringes, and she turns to her friends and grabs their hands and leads them away. And as she's leading them away, she gives me the dirtiest look and says to her friends, "That girl just told me to pour my period blood on the ground." And like she's leading her friends away from me. And I'm just like, that didn't go the way I thought it would. I thought she would be interested and think that that was a cool little tidbit and maybe want to start a conversation with me about it, you know? Like, I thought that was a good conversation starter. And within the 2 or 3 seconds that I'm, like, jaw dropped, like, thinking, oh, maybe that wasn't the best conversation starter, the couple of men that are, like, just side by side where the girl is leading her friend now, and I'm in a little bit of, like, a slightly panicked state because I just, like, fucked up that social interaction. These dudes just start, like, fist pounding each other. Like, this dude gets punched and he like backs up, so it's very chaotic. He like backs up and runs into me, and my friend has always been really protective of me, and he's always said he wants to get in a fight over me, like a physical altercation because of me, and I've just always been like, what the fuck, don't do that. But my friend immediately takes this as the opportunity. He sees me get a little jostled by this dude who just got punched in the face and backs up onto me. And so my friend grabs that dude and shoves him into a bunch of people. And then, like, probably a solid, like, 5 or 6, like, larger, like, grown men, like, in their early to mid-20s, like, to, like, just start, like, shoving each other and punching each other. And I immediately round the corner to this little staircase and just kind of start processing that, like, number one, no, I'm not gonna stand around in the middle of a bunch of grown-ass men who are losing their shit, just starting shoving and punching each other. And I rounded that corner, and I'm just like, that's gonna die down. Like, there's no way that's gonna be allowed to go on. Like, I've seen bouncers around in this bar, like, that's gonna get calmed down. And I know that my friend is, like, not seriously fighting just because he wants to fight. I know he's fighting because he just wants a reason to make me feel protected. So I'm just like, my friend's not really that serious about fighting, and, like, I've heard other, like, men say that they love getting into fights, or that, like, at points in their life they loved getting into fights, like, at bars, because it's just, like, feels like some kind of manly thing to do. So I'm just rounded the corner, like, they can do what the fuck they want. I know that's not gonna last very long, and I know none of them are probably, like, that serious about, like, actually hurting each other. So I just round the corner, right? And then I start playing it back in my mind. And I notice how immediately upon those girls finding disgust in what I said, like, I felt the way that I shifted the vibration, like, the vibrational energy in that room. I felt the way that everything just got ugly. Everything just kind of manifested itself as disharmonious. As soon as, like, they started moving that vibrational frequency of disharmony, a fight broke out. There was nothing leading up to that point, like, with those men that I was picking up on that would have said, like, they're about to fight. If there was some type of really intense aggression going on, I feel like I would have been able to pick up on it. Because they were pretty close to me. Like, this dude was close enough that when he got punched, his, like, backlash, like, ended up in him, like, running into me like that. So that's the time I started a bar fight. My friend ended up getting kicked out when I was, like, around the corner. I guess, like, he was seen as someone by one of the bouncers that, like, grabbed someone and pushed. So he got kicked out of the bar, and it took me a couple minutes to figure that out. I had to go up to some other people that we knew and be like, where is he? Where is he? And they were like, I think he's outside. Like, the bouncer came and got him. So, yeah, I went and found my friend outside. I gave him a ride home as I had planned to that night, and little did I know I would be starting a bar fight that evening also.